Okay,
There's a bunch of extra.
okay, we're going to start. Everybody ready? Okay. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Flournoy,
Here.
Hallie,
Yes.
Anderson. Yes. Andy,
Here.
Rasmussen,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Toohill.
Yes.
Counselor, are there any changes to the agenda tonight?
I'd like to put a request under the committee and board reports for a neighborly request.
She'll explain.
Okay, great. Thanks. Okay, the consent agenda tonight, approval of the minutes of the August 10th, 2020 council meeting, approval of August 21st, 2020 payroll in the amount of $129,872.98, approval of park use permit for Cafe Paradiso, approval of park use permit for Foursquare Church, approval of USDA Step 1 debt in the amount of $12,975, approval of CoBank interim financing debt in the amount of $20,988.39, resolution authorizing fund transfers, acceptance of the library board minutes, acceptance of the beautification minutes, acceptance of the personnel committee minutes of August 4th of 20, resolution of employment in the Park and Recreation Department, resolution of compensation in the Wastewater Water Departments, approval of liquor license for Pep Stop, approval of claims in the amount of $354,163.91. And we had one claim over $75,000, PKG Contracting for $224,939.22. I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Thank you.
Second.
Moved by Gandy, second by Toohill. Any other discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Gandy,
Yes.
Toohill,
Yes.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Anderson. Yes. Rasmussen,
Yes.
Hallie.
Yes.
Okay, approved unanimously. We will go to public forum and appearances, Collector Cars Unlimited. And you don't look like Daryn Hamilton.
No. I'm Steve Beeman. I've been here several times before you. Earlier in the year, we requested permission and you guys gave us permission to use the square for our annual car show September 20. And we just thought we would stop in and let you know that we are still on, we're still a go. We just didn't want anyone, we didn't want to be starting to get set up Sunday morning and have someone stop us and, hey, what's going on? We are still going on. We are going to practice the safe distancing and the masks as much as we can. So we've discussed it with our insurance agent and stuff like that. We feel it's a good idea for us to go if we still have the city's blessing. Guess that's all. We will get a hold of Daryn regarding the map for the barricades that we are now going to need solo since Kid Days isn't going to be here. And Daryn said he is also going to get a hold of at the parks, I forget her name.
Pam?
Pam.
Yeah, okay. Council, any questions? I guess not. Okay, great. Have a good event.
Okay, thank you kindly.
Thank you. Next is Terry Baker from CVB. I think Meg Dwyer's here too. So, Mark.
I have goodies for you tonight.
me know if you need more.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks, Mark.
Well, good evening, and thank you so much for allowing us to share some of the CVB accomplishments for the last year. I want to start out by thanking the city council members who agreed to meet with me earlier for a discussion about the city and the CVB. And your discussions were very helpful and really helped shape kind of our plan for moving forward. So thank you so much for agreeing to do that. Tonight, what we're going to do is present you with our annual report. This is for fiscal year 1920. And you have this lovely little colorful thing there, just kind of summarize things. We're not going to go through page by page, but if you see something there that really tweaks your fancy, we'll can dip into it. This will just give you an idea in some of the projects that we've worked on and where the CVB fits in terms of the community and community development and community marketing. Basically, we consider ourselves in two categories: a destination marketing organization and a destination development organization. What that means is that we are here to market Fairfield as a destination, and we're also here to manage that destination in terms of tourism. Why that's important is that whenever we're marketing something, we want to be sure that we're telling a genuine, authentic story. And if we say something in our marketing and it doesn't actually exist when we're here, then we have problems when people show up. So we do spend some time doing things with some of the organizations, educating some of the businesses, some of the events, some of the tourism attractions, that sort of thing. So we have some projects that we do that involve that development. With marketing, we do some cooperative marketing with the State of Iowa Tourism Office, where it allows us to get in some major publications that normally we wouldn't have that opportunity. So things like Midwest Living, Martha Stewart Living, things like that, we're able to get some advertising in that and draw some leads from that, which then we do follow-up marketing. We do a lot with social media and also email marketing. Our website is what we really use as sort of our flagship of our marketing, driving people to that website for current information. And we also have a visitor's guide, and I meant to bring those tonight. We actually, end of February, we published our new visitor's guide, and we haven't been able to distribute it yet. So, but we do have that. It may have to be redone soon, but we do have a really great visitor's guide that we send out that shows off the businesses and the attractions in the area. One of the projects we worked on last year was also with wayfinding, where we established the visitor kiosks in the downtown area. We have been playing a role in that wayfinding committee, and the CVB actually helped to fund those kiosks in the downtown area. In community engagement, which is part of our development side of tourism, we did several tourism educational sessions where we invited local businesses and individuals to come and learn about Instagram marketing, what makes a great downtown, some different things like that, which really help to bring people up a little bit in their understanding of what tourism is and what they can do. We also did some co-op marketing programs. We had two big ones last year. One was our Shop and Be Merry, which we do over the holidays, where we invite different shops in town, and we market that throughout the area within about a 100-mile radius. We also did a holiday gift guide that was virtual and online that we sent out, that people could then see the different places they could shop. And then we did a campaign in The Source, which was We Are Downtown Fairfield, where we put out some marketing on the downtown shops and restaurants. And then on your back, you'll see some things about the whole economic impact of local tourism. It's interesting because we are using statistics from the U.S. Travel Association, and one of the things they're telling us is that there is actually over $42 million of expenditures and spending tourism spending that happens in Jefferson County. This is information from 2018, which is the most current information we have from them. They have not released their 2019 information yet, which is a pretty significant number. And they're talking about what's involved with the jobs, with salaries, those kind of things, and tax collections as well. You'll see from our budget that we managed $170,000 in hotel motel tax. I have to give huge props to the CVB Board of Directors because, like many businesses, we have had a rough year starting in March. And that Board of Directors has been they have shown such great leadership in leading our organization and putting things together and keeping everything managed. And they continue to create that priority that we are here to market the community. We also have had a grant program. Our grant program started in our initial agreement with the city that we were to designate a certain amount of funds to help with events and different things around the community and help them market those events. So we continued that up until April. In April, we stopped all that funding simply because there was no more funding to give out. We also have had a sprucing up program, which we had used that to help do some curb appeal in the downtown area, knowing that curb appeal is one of those things that makes people do impulse buys that stop. They'll stop and they'll look at a location and they'll want to go in. And we also have a blade sign program, so it helps identify where those businesses are from a pedestrian standpoint, which is very important when you have a walkable pedestrian or walkable tourism environment. Now, I put in here a special section, the March and June projects, because starting in mid-March, things got very different for our organization. And we immediately pivoted from marketing the community outside of the community to supporting our businesses in town. Just helping them understand what was going on with the pandemic, helping them understand what was coming out of the state governor's office, when they should open, if they should open, what guidelines they should follow. So we started a Visit Fairfield Later campaign. That was our message to people outside the community. We also held virtual shopping events. These were events that were done on Facebook Live. They were hugely successful. It's one thing that I was super happy about. We had 4 businesses that started with our first one. 2 of those businesses called me at the end of the evening and said, "Terry, we just made enough money to pay our rent." They called me the next day and said, "People are still coming and calling us to do sales." So these have been continued to be very successful and really help our businesses stay open. We also had virtual happy hours. And we started an industry support newsletter. So this newsletter goes out to anyone in the hospitality industry, our hotels, our restaurants, the businesses, the attractions, our different event centers, just to give them information about what's going on, ideas and suggestions of how they can pivot, what they can do, how they can rethink their business. We had an online go-to dining guide. We created a hospitality promise, which was for our visitors to see that Fairfield was committed to staying safe, that our businesses were doing certain things to have certain protocols in place. We offered a survey. We took a survey of local sentiment. This was really interesting to me because I wanted to find out, are the residents of Fairfield ready to travel? Are they ready to go shopping? Which, yes, they were. But were they ready to go eat in a restaurant? All those kind of things. And what we found overwhelmingly is people were very cautious, except for the shopping. But I think a lot of people included grocery shopping in there. So, but one of the biggest things that I took away from this was the idea that if they saw a location, a business, restaurant, shop, any business that was practicing social distancing, that was showing visibly that they were cleaning and wearing masks, the customer felt much more comfortable to go to that business. So we were able to pass that information on to our local businesses. We also created signs for our shops and restaurants that they could use to create social distancing or show them where hand sanitizer was located, anything like that. We created reopening guides to help the businesses and as well as a toolkit to help those businesses. So those are some of the activities we did since March. Any questions on this before we move on to other things?
Well, we appreciate that. I believe our Fairfield Forever future plan for the city of Fairfield That's the CVB logo that the city used, is that correct?
It was in there, towards the back on one of the pages, yeah. We share a logo with the city. That's because we are the city's marketing and branding caretakers.
Yeah, I wonder if you could maybe talk a little bit more about the relationship between the CVB and the city. The city of
Sure.
Fairfield.
Well, we were established to be that arm that would drive visitors into the area, that would bring those tourism dollars in. One of the things that's really important about tourism to understand, it's not just about someone coming here and buying something at Adela's or going to a restaurant. It's really about creating that sort of first date for economic development. So really, tourism is about driving people into the community so they get a sense and flavor of what's going on in our community, and then also get inspired to think about moving here or becoming part of our workforce. So we actually work closely with FIDA on helping them with some marketing messaging and things like that to create that, that message out there. So when we were created for that purpose, we fell into that marketing position, and that's really our dominant role. That's the role that right now we're falling back on really heavily because that's what's really needed right now. Then what happened during a certain transition is that our director became a co-director. We shared a director with the convention center. One of the challenges with that is that whenever you share a director with two organizations, is that one organization ends up being what I call the ugly stepsister, where the priorities of that organization sometimes are not developed and they're not put forward as they should be. So, and I feel like on one level, that's where our organization has failed the council a little bit in terms of us being able to communicate with you exactly what we do. And so that's why I'm here tonight, and that's why I met with so many of you to kind of try to shift that a little bit.
And now the CVB has its own director.
Yes. So we have officially terminated the agreement with the Fairfield Arts and Convention Center. They have their own new director now, and we have our director.
That would be you.
That would be me.
Are you the sole employee of the CVB?
I am the sole employee, yes. It falls on my shoulders. But you know what? I have to tell you, it's fun. And even when it's challenging, it's fun, because we got to do some detective work and figure out how we're going to do this and how we're going to get some people. Anything else?
I imagine if you're a sole employee, you're watching your costs. That's a point I'm trying to suggest, right? If you have one employee, that's probably pretty lean.
Yeah, right now, I'm actually trying to bribe my friends with coffee to come and help me do things, so that may be coming down the road. But yeah, right now I am the only employee, so everything that happens is because of what I'm able to generate, which means we may not be able to generate as much, but also means we have to be really careful about where we put that energy, both our time and our money. For me, I want to see the biggest return we can get. Unfortunately, right now, we're not seeing a lot of travel. The travel industry has really been decimated by everything. Here's the good news. Fairfield is a drive-in market. Hello, everyone's starting to drive. And we know now from research that we're getting from the state of Iowa is that we are almost at pre-COVID levels of drive-through traffic. We are almost there, which means people are starting to drive. They might not be spending as much time in a location or doing everything that they normally would, but they're starting to go out and visit other communities, which is great news for us. Anything else?
When is your fiscal year?
Our fiscal year is July 1st to June 30th.
So you're the
Okay.
same as the cities.
Yes, we changed that a number of years ago so that we were aligned with the city.
Okay. You're roughly 3 months into it, or close to, for the next one. Have you tried to estimate at all what your hotel motel tax is even going to be this year?
Yeah, we have. We've tried to estimate that. It's a little hard to estimate that at this
I'm
point.
sure.
We're getting some indications. I'm looking at what's happening monthly. I can look at some statistics for hotels in general throughout the state. Right now, for the month of July, let's see, for the month of July compared to last July, hotel expenditures were down 27%. For the year to date, right now, they're down 33%. We also know that some of the hotels are lowering their prices, which is going to also affect the end result there. We basically created 3 budgets right now. We have worst case scenario, we have unicorn and rainbow scenario, and then we have something in between. and literally like every 3 months, we're looking at the whole thing and going, okay, which one do you think we could do? So it's a little challenging to figure that out right now. So we're just being really careful and trying to do what we can that is very scrappy at this point. That's the best word I have for it. So where can we do things that put us boots on the ground, that use our in-kind, our talent, rather than money? So that's what we're looking at right now. I didn't mean to say I was talented. So I just meant to say my energy. Let's make that really clear. All right, was there anything else on that? Okay, cool, because what I would like to do is kind of share with you this plan that we've been working on. You know, one of the things that I hear frequently is that people think that tourism is about being a visitor center, that it's about answering the calls when the visitors call or meeting them at the door with a visitor's guide or whatever. But tourism that might be a little piece of what happens, but tourism is really about strategically and with intention marketing a community to a specific group of people to stimulate that economic growth in the community. So we've already started doing some advertising in St. Louis, Kansas City, and Madison. Yes, those are 3. And encouraging people to pick up their visitor's guide. So our plan right now is just get people planning, get people moving through. We're also able to, at this point, tie into some national campaigns, which will be really about when your heart tells you it's right, that's the time to travel. So we're not telling people travel now or don't travel. We're saying, hey, you know when it's right for you to travel, and we're going to be here. So on this plan, I have given you, this is a summary of the plan, because I already gave you 4 pages of stuff to read, so I didn't want to give you a lot more. And this is very text heavy, so I'm like saving you. So this is a brief summary of what we're doing, and basically we looked at the situation that going back to normal is probably not going to happen. It might happen at some point, but it may not happen for a long time. And so we have to do something now so that we're sure that our small businesses and our hospitality businesses don't fail. We're starting to see this in communities throughout Iowa, is that 25 to 30% of their small businesses are closing permanently. That's something that I don't think Fairfield can afford to have happen. And so we're trying to do what we can from a tourism perspective to make sure that those businesses are vibrant. So we're focusing mostly on food and beverage, retail, attractions and events, accommodations, outdoor recreation, and meetings and business travel. What we're hoping to do with this is start to look for those industries to start increasing probably sometime next spring. We know that the research that we're getting from the national researchers is that hotel motel tax will not rebound to its 2019 levels until 2022, possibly 2023. So there's a long road of building back up, not only for us, but for our small businesses. So you'll see a little diagram here at the bottom. This is basically encapsulating our philosophy right now. We look at economic development for us, that there's 3 kinds of money. There's the money that comes into town from out of town. There's the money that circulates within the community, and there's the money that leaves and never comes back. Our goal is to increase the money that's coming in from out of town, to increase the velocity of the money that's circulating around the community, and to minimize the amount of money that goes out. So that's part of our plan. For example, minimizing the money that goes out, that's creating a FOMO situation with our residents, so that their fear of missing out, they think, I don't want to leave Fairfield because I might miss out on something that's happening. I might miss out on what's going on. So we can use those kind of things to stimulate the locals to stay and spend their money within the community. On your backside, this gives you a brief overview of some of our short-term efforts and our general recovery efforts. Right now, we're focused on passive advertising. Hey, Fairfield's still here. Hey, Fairfield is this, and Fairfield's like this. We're not doing any major calls to action other than you want to start planning a trip, here's a visitor's guide, get your visitor's guide. We're going to be monitoring that situation when we start to see from a national level that people are starting to travel more, because we know that everybody's getting a little antsy, and we start to see that, we're going to start going into a new campaign that will actually encourage people to come here and plan their visits. We're also doing, working with our local businesses. For example, we're going to be doing a training webinar on marketing to help our local businesses sort of step up their marketing game. We also have some free advertising options, and we're going to develop some paid co-op marketing opportunities for our local businesses. On the free advertising level, what we're going to be doing, we have a virtual marketplace that's going to be going up on our website. That's free to our small businesses and hospitality businesses. And we will, of course, we provide our information virtually. Social media is going to be at the core of what we're doing. And we are doing a deep dive right now into exactly that person we want to target, how we're going to do that. Because our marketing is more than just let's make a Facebook post. Let's boost a Facebook post. Our marketing is targeted. We go in, we find out the people that we want to target, we get them to engage, and then we retarget them with more information so that we can really get those people and continue to go after them. Most people take 7 touches before they're going to respond to something like that. So we're starting that runway now so that by the time next spring comes, when everybody's traveling a little bit more, that we're going to be top of mind. We're also starting to collaborate with our events and our attractions. I've been working with Lindsay from the Convention Center on kind of what they're doing and how we can help them with some different things. And we're also doing something different. We have, if some of you have been to our website, you'll see at the very bottom, we have what we call user-generated content. These are photos that come off of social media that people are sharing about Fairfield. We're able to put that here to give people an authentic experience about Fairfield. So we don't have the slick, glossy marketing that's happening and, oh, we're this and we're that.
Are you changing the name of the website?
Oh, yes, we are. Paul and I had that discussion this afternoon, so thank you for reminding me. We actually started changing our Facebook page first, and we'll be changing our website probably in the next week or two. We are now going to be visitfairfieldiowa.com instead of travelfairfield.com. Something that I was confused, like why we were Travel Fairfield anyways. That doesn't make much sense. If I want to go visit someplace, I'm usually searching for visit some location. So we'll be changing that soon. And if somebody still goes to Travel Fairfield, it will still come to the same website. So we're going to wrap a big bow around everyone. We're also going to be starting some user-generated content on our website, which is really fabulous because this is going to create authentic stories. People want to engage with the locals. They want to know what the locals are doing, what their stories are. They want to meet the locals. They want to know behind the scenes. They want to meet a restaurateur. They want to meet the shop owner. So we're starting to add that content to our website, and that'll be building up. So that's kind of a summary of the plan. This is basically our plan for the next 10 to 12 months. We also recognize that we may be pivoting. We have to be very flexible with this, and things could change. And then we're going to be flexible and make the best of it. So are there any other questions? Anything else that I can provide for you?
I know you're too modest to acknowledge that you are talented, and I know for a fact that you've done continuing ed in this field. You're not just somebody who has good ideas about visiting and tourism, but you've actually done continuing ed, haven't you?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Okay. And that's partly what's driving some of this, is that you keep up to date with what the national trends are.
I actually have, I I attended 4 years of Tourism Leadership Institute in Iowa, so I am a graduate of that program. And I also spend a considerable amount of my own money to stay up on current marketing techniques and content creation. So that's something that I feel very passionate about, and that makes my job easier. So.
Great. Thanks, Terry. We really appreciate the thorough report, and Good luck these next few months.
Yeah. And I would love to come back more frequently and give you guys updates on things. So we'll be in touch about different things. That's one of my goals. I'm only in my second month of this position, so I've had several things that are on my list. That's one of them, is to make sure that that communication between our organization and city council is more transparent and has a little easier flow.
Great, thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll move on to resolutions, action items, and ordinances. The first action item we have is consideration of authorization of fireworks on Saturday, September 5th, 2020 at the Jefferson County Fairgrounds.
The fireworks ordinance doesn't actually permit us to shoot fireworks off on September 5th, but that was what the council had requested us to look into, moving our fireworks display from the 4th to Labor Day. So simply asking to make sure it's okay that we set that program off and have those fireworks on Labor Day weekend.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Anderson, second by Ham, to allow the fireworks on Saturday, September 5th at the Fairgrounds. Any discussion?
Yes, no, that's just at the fairgrounds. am I
Correct. That's not, I'm not asking to violate personal fireworks. This is the large fireworks display that we normally put off on an annual basis.
Thank you.
The city sponsors it because we put $5,000 of lost money into that show, I believe.
I believe that's correct.
Thanks.
Did we get some response from the community when you sent out that letter?
The donation letter?
Yeah.
We've received free donations, so,
A little tougher this year.
yeah.
Yep. Okay, if there's no further discussion, I guess call the roll.
Anderson?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Hallie?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Okay, that was approved unanimously to have the fireworks on Saturday, September 5th at the fairgrounds, and it's the fairgrounds only. It's not your personal fireworks.
Correct.
Okay, next action item, consideration of professional services with Klingner Associates.
Klingner and Associates is the architectural firm that we worked with for our building here, and they're also working with the Carnegie Library. This was also the firm that we had talked about looking at the different sites, and this is what their proposal is to look at the 4 or 5 different sites that we had brought up to council this last meeting, and their proposal to do that.
Any questions, council?
Then it was a lump sum, right?
It's $9,400, I
Yep.
see, preliminary assessment.
Where would that come from? Which budget? General fund? Probably general fund, planning, somewhere in there. I'll move to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Hallie, second by Flournoy to approve this agreement with Klingner Associates. Any other discussion? If not, please call the roll.
Hallie?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Okay, that was approved unanimously. To spend preliminary assessment of $9,400 to look at the sites for a new fire station. Thank you. Next action item, consideration of change order number 32 for the wastewater treatment plant project. This is demolishing the existing stormwater pump station. That addition is $43,617.05.
The stormwater pump station out at the sewer plant, basically it's an unsafe building. There's no storage, there's no useful storage for the building. It leaks. We have enough money left in the budget to take care of that project. So there was just enough left to add that to the overall project list. I'll move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Hallie, second by Rasmussen. Any further discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Hallie?
Yes.
Rasmussen?
Yes.
Toohill?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Gandy?
Yes.
Flournoy?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That was approved unanimously. Consideration to accept Fairfield Municipal Airport Reconstruction Hangar Taxiways Phase 1 and 2 projects as final.
These projects were completed by Reconstruction.
They have gone pretty well as far as I understand, so we would like to complete the project and close it out.
I would move to approve.
Second.
Okay, moved by Rasmussen, second by Toohill. Any other discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Rasmussen,
Yes.
Toohill,
Yes.
Gandy,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Hallie,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Okay, that was approved unanimously to take those projects as final at the airport. Next is a resolution, consideration to request reimbursement for the Iowa COVID-19 Government Relief Fund. You want to give us a little more detail on that, Aaron?
Sure. The government relief fund is primarily it's for public safety finances that were used during the first part of the COVID pandemic. And this is government funding from the federal government that's come to the state, which is getting distributed to each county and city municipality. Basically, we can use up to 25% of our public safety salaries. We also added some minor equipment purchases for the fire department and for here in the city offices to respond to COVID for our COVID-19 response. And we need to pass the resolution by the 15th and then go to a website, which I was told this weekend that they finally come out with. So we can, once the resolution's approved, I can submit everything to this website to get the final approval for the amount of money that we approved for the resolution.
Great, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
I move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Toohill, second by Anderson. Any other questions or discussion? If not, please call the roll.
Toohill,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Gandy,
Yes.
Hallie,
Yes.
Rasmussen,
Yes.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Great, thank you. That was approved unanimously. Consideration of tax abatement application for 400 North 2nd Street, Fairfield Food Collective. And I see Denise isn't here. Do you want to make any comments, Rebecca or Aaron?
This is the old Harper Brush building Denise has purchased, and they are going to try to have 4 or 5 to 8, I'm sorry, commercial kitchens in there for people to rent out. She also has her bakery in there now, and just wants to look to expand it and try to make a go of it.
All I can say, it's an incredible success story for Fairfield.
Yeah.
Really incredible from where they started
Is it?
as just a hobby.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I move we approve the tax abatement application for 400 North 2nd Street.
Great, thank you. It's been moved by Flournoy,
Second.
second by Gandy to approve this. Any other discussion or questions? If not, please call the roll.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Gandy,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Toohill,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Rasmussen,
Yes.
Hallie,
Yes.
Great, thank you. That was approved unanimously. Next, we have a public hearing on proposed vacating real estate, the interest of city easement for easement exchange. This is the Huffman Estates. So we'll open the public hearing, or John, are you going to talk about that first?
Go ahead and open it.
Okay, so we'll open the public hearing. And nobody's here, so I guess we'll close it. And it looks like John's going to have some comments.
Right. The last time we met, I'd given you a couple resolutions. We changed one slightly. The resolution you have in your packet this time, in the 5th paragraph, does what you want to do tonight after nobody shows for the public hearing, and that is, the city does hereby vacate the easement interest that we have with Huffman, and it allows it then at our next meeting, which there's a provision to have another public hearing on transferring that vacated interest to the Huffmans at our first meeting in September. So next meeting, I'll be giving you a resolution that authorizes the mayor and the clerk to, or the administrator to sign a quitclaim deed, transferring that interest Then we're going to bring it back to you 2 more times as far as Burns and Simons in the same area with different descriptions and some exchanges as far as those easements also. So that's all this is about, and hopefully you'll agree to set this for our first meeting in September as far as the next step, which is resolving the transfer.
Okay, so we'll go, yeah, and so that's in this next resolution, right?
Right.
Okay. So, the resolution vacating the real estate interest of city easement. So we'll
I
take a
move
motion on that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I move we vacate the easement as described.
Second.
Moved by Flournoy, second by Toohill. Any questions or discussion? If not, please call the roll.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Toohill,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Rasmussen,
Yes.
Gandy,
Yes.
Hallie,
Yes.
Ham.
Yes.
Um,
Are we supposed
So
to
we'll
say?
fill
yeah,
in,
so-
yeah, we'll fill in that resolution for the 14th.
Okay, yeah. Okay, the next public hearing is the authorization of a loan agreement, the issuance of notes to evidence the obligation of the city. And I assume we don't have anybody for that, but I'll open the public hearing, right? There's nobody here for that, Rebecca? Okay, so I'll close the public hearing. And we will move on to the next resolution. Consideration of instituting proceedings to take additional action for the authorization of a loan agreement and the issuance of not to exceed $4,020,000 sewer revenue capital loan notes.
Both of these two resolutions all involve the sewer plant. We're closing, the $4 million is closing the SRF loans that we had for planning and development with SRF, that when we switched to USDA, we still had those and we never closed them up until now. And then the final is we're closing the plant, total dollar amount is there for the second resolution.
Okay, so we'll take the first resolution, the $4,020,000.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Hallie, second by Gandy. Any other question? Not, please call the roll.
Hallie,
Yes.
Gandy,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Rasmussen.
Yes.
Toohill.
Yes.
Thank you, that's approved unanimously. Then the second resolution for $29,843,000 for the sewer revenue capital loan notes.
Move approval.
Moved by Flournoy,
Second.
second by Rasmussen. Any discussion? Not, please call the roll.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Rasmussen.
Yes.
Toohill,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Hallie,
Yes.
Gandy.
Yes.
Okay, approved unanimously, thank you. Ordinance 1193, amending City Code 10.34 concerning prohibited parking to additionally limit and restrict various forms of parking, including right-of-way parking. This is a second reading.
And we have,
I'm going to open the public hearing because we do have someone here for that. And Rebecca just went to get him.
Can happen.
Okay. Do we, well, I guess I'll close the public hearing, but do you have any
No.
comments about what he was concerned about, or
No.
does anybody know?
He just said he wanted to be here.
Was
for
it TJ Henderson?
that. I have no clue who.
I think it may have been, and I got some pictures of his place that, I met with them last week, and so the 3 pictures I took standing at his house, that's looking down the street on 4th Street, and there you have a car parked in a gravel area. Can you go to the next picture? That's looking the other direction towards Burlington, and that's actually one of 3 parking spaces in the right-of-way in that area. And the last one is the gentleman, that's TJ's. He bought the house, and that came with the house. That's a paved area for parking next to the driveway.
Street is that D?
No, that's,
Oh, okay.
that's
So
Washington,
I
I
had a
believe.
different person call me,
Yeah.
or email me.
That's not a driveway into a garage, it's just,
The garage, there is a driveway right next to it, but
That's
that
a
one,
pad, it's
but
a-
that one is a pad literally between the street and the sidewalk. And then across the street, you got somebody parking on a gravel area. So TJ was asking, and then since I talked with him and talked to other people, I would like to ask that we table this or try to make this a little bit more specific. And the reasons being, one, when we talked about doing this before, we talked about getting the permit process first and then banning it by code. That way, people who want to have it know what the rules are in order to comply. This doesn't do that. We're banning it and then leaving it up to the police, which I don't think is a favor to them. I think they're going to get a lot of heat for arbitrarily, or I guess you could say subjectively, enforcing the code. Because let's say TJ gets ticketed, but not the person across the street, that's going to feel really discriminatory. I don't think that we want to do that to our police, especially not right now. The second reason is we are in the middle of a pandemic. There are a number of people who are unemployed or underemployed. The economy is not in good shape, and now we're adding a new way that we fine our citizens. I don't think that's appropriate timing. We can't help our citizens. We don't have any funds to help them pay their utility bills. But what we can do is not add another way to fine them. I would argue that most people park in the right-of-way don't have another place to park, and by just simply saying build a driveway is a little insensitive at this time. So for those reasons, I think it would be best to table this, or if we want to ban the parking on the grass, to be specific about that, rather than banning all ROW parking, and then leaving it up to police to decide who to ticket and who not to ticket. I don't see this as some sort of, I know the city has been looking at this for years, but is it a burning issue that needs to be solved immediately? Or is it something we could take our time and develop a permitting process and develop standards and then roll out maybe spring?
I'm sure a lot of this was done long before any of us were on council, but the pavement, was that allowed, permitted? How do those, because there's a number of those around, that's not the only one.
Yeah,
How-
no, there's never been a ban on right-of-way parking in the city until this ordinance. So people have been
But
parking
paving the
there.
right-of-way
Well, if
isn't
you go around
their
the,
property.
but if you go to schools and business areas, there are a lot of parking spaces that are paved right-of-way. Like maybe 100, maybe more than 100.
Was it just done at the owner's discretion?
Yeah, there's never been a permitting process. So it's been a little bit Wild West. I mean, we don't have building codes in Fairfield, you know.
Yeah.
We play it pretty loose. So there was no permit to get. So people would pave it, they didn't need permission. They don't do it to any standards either. So one of the things that other cities do is they say, if you're gonna pave it, then we give them engineering specs. You have to put a subbase in, you gotta go this thick with the cement, you gotta use rebar, et cetera. And then here's how you tie into our street so as to not cause problems with that. We don't have those. So that's why there is no permitting process. There's no how-to. It's just basically we're saying no one can, but we're only gonna ticket some of you.
how long would it take Melanie to get guidelines put together for?
That's a tricky question.
That's forthcoming.
We've been working on it. Daryl and I worked on some of the restrictions that we thought would be appropriate, which of course then we've given to Melanie to start working on a process.
Well, once you get those in place, are people going to submit an application? Do you have permission to do such?
Yeah, you would
Work.
have to request it.
And then council would have to approve it, or would you
It would be
approve it?
part of, I would say, part of the planning process
Yeah.
or the zoning office that would approve it rather than,
Right.
and of course then if they were told no there, then they would either, I assume that would be a Board
Board
of
of
Adjustment
Adjustment
thing.
typically, yeah. So
Would
similar
it
like a
be,
building permit.
This was actually brought before public safety as a first step towards that right-of-way permitting
Right.
process.
I was thinking we should come up with some ideas so people have an idea of what's going to be allowed and what's not going to be allowed beforehand. I guess that'll be in the guidelines, right?
Yes.
So,
Can I
Yeah.
ask, is this two-way traffic and then there's just no extra parking on either side? Or is that what's forcing them?
they're not forced. He could actually park in front of his house on the street. It's just that when he bought the house, this was there. And it's very common, you know, because there were no,
Because they had more than one vehicle and they just wanted to get them off the street?
whoever
or
owned the
whatever.
house before him just put it in at
Yeah.
some point, probably because it's convenient. But getting back to, so Melanie, as an engineer, could do the specs, right? The engineering specs. But we always ask her to do more of a city planner type work. We could farm out the code portion or the permit code portion if it's something we really want to do, similarly how we're doing it for the mixed use. You know, some of this stuff is just somebody who has a deep understanding of this kind of law to write it up, taking feedback from our administrator, from our street department. So that often gets put on her plate, but that's not her forte. She doesn't write code. She has no background in writing code. She's an engineer. So, you know, it doesn't always have to go to her department is what I'm saying. And she's the only one in her department. So if we really want to see this get done, there's other ways to do it, to expedite it. I really feel that this is not the way to go forward for all the reasons previously stated and the timing.
I think it is a little confusing. I mean, even the first reading, it was, okay, this is the way it is, but we're working towards commercial issues. So maybe we want to be a little more thorough and kind of have it all come together at the same time. I don't know. John, do you want to
I
comment?
don't know if you want to table this or if you just want to amend one more time. Last session, we amended about edge of street and about 15 feet by fire hydrants. If you put at the beginning of the ordinance you got right now, just some language like unless otherwise permitted, you don't have to go any farther than that as far as explaining the permitting yet. But say that so you've already got it in this ordinance, and then tell the police department, don't enforce it until we've got the permitting process spelled out. Whatever you decide on that, it's going to end up in the planning office. And probably you're going to have some walkthroughs before you like the way it works.
Well, we can also adjust the enforcement date as being next year if we wanted to, for example.
You do that too?
So we could pass it now and have it in place, but not trigger it until a year from today, or whenever we decide.
Whatever you decide. That'd be my suggestion if somebody wants to make a friendly amendment, just say unless otherwise permitted, and then work on it before you enforce it.
Wording would be.
Yeah, I would suggest that as an amendment, that we put that language at the beginning of the ordinance. When do we need to decide about the enforcement date?
Well, that's up to the committee, I guess. Katie, do you have a problem with
We
doing
could,
it?
There's no enforcement date listed here. It's just the way it was presented to the committee is that this was actually a first step that needed to happen prior to the writing of the permitting process. So that when that process comes around, there's something in place that's enforceable that can then be, and the permitting process can be allowed as the exception. So when you come, you're asking for the exception to the ordinance instead of, trying to think how to state this. Do you know? Do you see what I'm
Variance.
saying? This was brought to us by more than one department head that this needed to come first. And I trust our city department heads to actually know the process probably better than I do. And so, much like our city attorney, I don't think this should be tabled. One, because this is coming back to the Public Safety Committee how many years after it came to us the first time and just stalled. And it's like, if this is critical enough that it's come back up again, multiple city department heads brought it to us. We're at the meetings where it was hammered out. Mr. Morrissey was at that meeting and has written this according to other cities surrounding us. If a little bit of verbiage at the front of it will get it to the momentum it needs to move forward, I think we need to do this to then be able to go into the right-of-way permitting process. So,
You'd be okay with unless otherwise permitted, that would make sense to you?
yeah, I mean, there's nothing in here that talks about immediate enforcement or anything. I don't know that that needs to be addressed in this.
Well, once you publish, once it's been through 3 readings and it's been published, it is then
It's
enforceable.
enforceable.
So
Yep.
if we have a permitting in place, at the verbiage at the beginning of the ordinance, and then if we hold off on publishing until we have that
Right-of-way permitting
permitting
process.
process in place would be the, almost, rather than setting a date or anything like that, we could
Just
do
wait to
that.
publish.
Yeah.
Wait to publish until
There you go.
we have the permitting process.
So I'm fine with
That
the
is-
verbiage
yes.
that Doug has proposed, but I don't think we
Takes
should
care.
table this because this has come around
Now,
now.
let's just get it done, but we can decide when to make it effective.
Yeah, we
Alright,
can
so-
decide when to publish it later.
All right,
The
so we're not
city attorney
tabling it,
proposed it.
postponing
The
the
city attorney
publishing,
proposed it.
making it
But
law.
Yeah,
that's
sounds-
John's proposal, right? John, unless otherwise permitted, that was your
If you-
language.
Unless
But he actually
otherwise
put a motion on
permitted,
the
Oh,
floor.
okay.
that'll
Now-
get you to the third reading and see who else has anything to say.
Can you, can you add that to the language and
Yeah.
still have a third reading?
Exactly.
You can?
You can amend it
You
at
can
the
amend
third
it up
reading.
to the third
All
reading.
right.
Okay, so we do have a motion on the floor to add the verbiage of unless otherwise permitted by Mr. Flournoy. Is
I'll
there-
second it.
And there's a second by Anderson. Any other discussion?
Yes, and as I understand it, that we would, if suppose it went to the third reading and this were passed, we can determine when it's published? What's the step for that? What's the procedure for that?
We have to send it to the paper to publish it.
And that's a decision we make?
Yeah.
At any, unilaterally? Who makes that decision? The council or just?
Well, normally, once it's passed the
would
third
just
time,
happen.
the next day, it gets shipped to the.
Usually the effective
the-
date is the third
Right.
passage.
Right.
We could
So
decide the effective
if-
date could be a year from now.
If the council says, we want to hold off until the permitting process is in place, we could hold off shipping it to the paper until that permitting process is in place.
And then who decides when to ship it off? The council by vote?
We
or-
would at the next
Yeah, we-
reading say,
we
hold
bring
this
the-
for publication until the right-of-way permitting process is also ready to go into effect.
Okay, and then so we determine at some point the permitting process is in place.
Yes.
Then we bring what before the council? A motion or?
We let you know that,
The permitting. If we
Permitting.
do it at the next reading that this goes with that, then this sits until the permitting process goes, and then they go together.
So when we vote for the third and final reading, we
Yes.
make it contingent that, or make an extra portion of that motion
Yeah.
that it doesn't get published until the permitting process is ready, so that it's tied to
I understand.
that
The
third
permitting
vote.
process.
I understand. So my question, I understand that. Who determines when the permitting process is completed?
That's coming back before Public Safety and Transportation.
And then it comes to public safety, that committee, or whoever?
We'll have
And then it'll
then
come
they'll
back
make
to
the
council.
recommendation to council, which
Yep.
could be at any point.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have to
I think
pass it.
The
Council.
council has to pass it, right. But it goes through public safety typically. All right. Okay, I think I understand.
And would it be helpful if people who have a similar situation, like Michael explained, to contact their council person? So we kind of get some of those places.
I've received 2 emails in favor of this ordinance, and then I had one request for, tell me where I'm supposed to park. So,
What was,
so one negative, but that was also a place over on D Street where we took street parking away.
Street parking away.
But then the other 2, a realtor was in favor of it, and somebody else, I forget who it was in favor of taking that parking away.
But I guess, would it be helpful if those people called, if they're in whatever ward they're in, they call the council member, that information can then flow up to the committee and/or Melanie to discuss what those situations are?
They can.
Yeah,
I've been printing off emails and putting them in a file so
Okay.
that when we have discussion, we can talk about it.
yeah, okay. That's sort of a public FYI, I guess.
you said his name was TJ or something, I think, that talked to you, and he's got the pad and everything poured in his, and then showed you 3 other neighbors that are parking on the, what was his mindset? I mean, did he want his okayed and the other one's not, or was he?
He has pretty strong opinions. he used the term money grab. You know, I did not necessarily see eye to eye with him, but I did, standing there, see that, wow, our right-of-way parking is extremely common
Yeah.
in our town. And so this is, you know, the wording says no one
Right.
shall, you know, park there. So it's pretty big language when there's so much of it. But yeah, he just doesn't want to see this pass, kind of for philosophical reasons, I guess. Well, maybe he'll come next time and he can tell
And
you.
just so the council knows, I mean, it was not a short meeting, it wasn't near the personnel committee meeting. But it wasn't a short meeting, and we did discuss numerous businesses, apartments. I mean, we thoroughly reviewed this, and there was no logical way to accept you, but allow you and accept you, and, you know, so after much discussion, like I said, having had this come back, I believe it's 5 or 6 years after it hit the first time, the committee felt the best approach was an all or nothing approach. And it not only an all or nothing, but commercial and residential together in one, no separation. So, I mean, it wasn't without vast amounts of discussion.
Right. But I
Much
think,
discussion.
yeah,
you.
yeah, it's for sure. I think this is a sound amendment, though. That makes sense,
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
in my opinion.
it's been moved and seconded. We have had discussion, so we're going to move it to the third reading with the additional language of unless otherwise permitted. Please call the roll.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Rasmussen,
Yes.
Toohill,
Yes.
Gandy,
Yes.
Hallie,
Yes.
Ham.
Yes.
Great, thank you. That was passed unanimously. The mayor's report. I have just a couple of things here. First, council, you saw it. You all received an email that was forwarded to you by a patron of the Park and Rec Department. And this person actually was from Kyoto, and I just want to publicly acknowledge the great job that they're doing there at Park and Rec. This person said what a wonderful facility we have, and this person had been to several different facilities, and she said, please be aware that she's seen many surrounding pools, and this one is tops, and that they've done an amazing job handling the COVID situation at Park and Rec. So it was a really nice letter, and the public should be aware that there was some nice appreciation for that. The Street Sweepers Ball apparently is this Saturday from 9 to noon. So anybody that wants to come and help clean up downtown, it's kind of fun, even though you kind of get dirty, get your hands dirty, but come and join us. And as you will hear in the committee reports, we did Aaron's evaluation. But one of the things that came out of that, and Judy will speak to that, but one of the things that came out of that was we wanted each council member to have a goal over the next year, and that was, you belong to different organizations, or maybe you go to a meeting for, whatever organization you belong to, or something else that you're going to. It could be a church, it could be a service organization. But we'd like, Aaron's now an empty nester, and yeah, so he's got extra time on his hands now, right? So we just want to
Broaden.
invite him to some other organizations that we all belong to, and get him a little more involved in the community, and get him meeting new people. So if everybody can take up that challenge for the next year in whatever you're involved in, and ask him to participate. So. And that's really all I have. So let's go on to the city attorney report. Do you have anything, John? Okay, nothing. So let's go to committee and board reports. Personnel committee.
So I'm sure you all noticed that you're getting some more news updates. We ask that Aaron and Rebecca would keep us informed when they're sending out press releases. Thank you. It was just gone from me. Press releases. So we're going to be seeing some more of those, and that'll keep us up to date with those things that are going on. And then the final thing is just Aaron has been here with us for 3 years, and it is time for the council to consider his salary. And we just want to bring that before you tonight and have that open discussion in the near future of consideration for the time that he has worked, and just have our analysis of where that all stands. Right now, we don't have anything to be bringing as a recommendation for salary, but we hope to have that soon, so.
Okay. Public safety.
Public safety and transportation met this evening right before council, and I believe an updated agenda went out right before council, so you probably have, yep, you have an attachment to your agenda now. So we have an official DOT recommendation at the corner of Highway 1 and Burlington, so right next to, help me, Quality Quick Stop. I'll never not know it is its old name. Where people are headed south and make their own right turn lane. The DOT has actually come in, and it's their official recommendation now to put a right turn lane in there. So committee is making a recommendation to council tonight that we accept the official DOT recommendation and allow them to install the right turn lane at little to no cost of our own. I don't know if you can see on the screen, there's a red circle up on the arm. There will be a right turn only sign up there, and then they'll paint, Daryl, you said a solid line and a right turn arrow, right?
Scroll down, you can see it.
So
State's gonna come in and do this?
state's gonna come in and do this, and then we are guessing there's gonna be some upkeep on our part, especially with the paint. But the initial installation, painting, lining, sign hanging will fall on DOT.
Will this eliminate any parking spots north of it?
No.
No, not right now,
There's no
although,
parking right where this will be.
There, so that's the big.
yeah, I get there, sorry. That is the box. So it's actually not even gonna go back up to the old Iowa telephone building.
That little.
Well,
So it's on the north,
there's an entrance to the gas station right there too.
Correct.
So it's
It'll be short of, it looks to me like that's short of the entrance to the gas station.
Looks like it goes right to the curb there.
Yeah, I say people drive over that curb currently, but where that box is technically curbed. It's not a very bad curb, so plenty of cars shortcut through there, but right at the back of the box is the official entrance into the gas station.
This makes me happy.
People are
So
doing
you-
it already,
Oh, yeah.
all the time.
All the
Yeah.
time, yep.
We had an accident
Didn't
with
yet,
our
was it?
fire chief who made a right-hand turn like he was supposed to, and somebody decided to
Cut
sneak
it.
in, and he turned into them, and which kind of precipitated us to have a conversation with the DOT, and they came back with this recommendation. So if they make the recommendation and they're gonna do the initial funding of it, we're okay with that.
So
So,
you need a motion to accept the recommendation?
yeah, coming from committee, I would make a motion that we accept the DOT recommendation to install a right turn lane at the corner of Burlington and Highway 1.
Second.
Okay, been moved by Anderson, second by Flournoy. Any other discussion? Not, please call a roll.
Anderson,
Yes.
Flournoy,
Yes.
Ham,
yes.
Gandy,
Yes.
Hallie,
Yes.
Toohill,
Yes.
Rasmussen.
Yes.
Great, thank you. So Katie, did you have something else? That was the thing that you wanted, right?
No.
Oh, you got something else.
She has
Yeah.
another request.
Another
Okay,
request.
go ahead.
So this weekend, I don't know if anybody in the room has been up to Cedar Rapids since they were decimated by the derecho. But I went up this weekend with my son, who will be going to college there, and was absolutely floored by the devastation. Like, what we're seeing on TV and the quick snippets on the internet doesn't even give you a breath of what's happening up there. And getting to campus, as soon as you're off the major roadways, so First Ave, Collins Road, the interstate up there, the streets are nearly incapable of passing. When you do drive them, you're driving over debris. The people who have been able to get the debris off the roadways so that you can get to places like Coe College, Mount Mercy, the hospitals, have piled debris higher than my Yukon. You can't even see their houses. The debris is piled so high in front of their houses.
It looks like you're driving through a forest because it's just trees on both sides of you all the way down the road.
Yeah,
That's all you can
it
see.
genuinely looks like a war zone.
Yep.
And I mean, if you drive through, you see, oh, look, there's a billboard down, or somebody lost some siding off the side of the big commercial buildings. But when you really get down in the neighborhoods, they're decimated. They're legitimately, oh, look, there's a tree through the garage. Oh, look, that garage is gone. Oh, look, there's a tree through the front of that house. I mean, it is, you wouldn't believe what you're seeing. So when I was coming back, when the flood happened in Western Iowa, that hit really close to home for me because that's where I'm from. And I knew that people were suffering there, like legitimately, like in their homes with water, lost everything. And I did something there, but I really, when I came back, I was thinking more municipality to municipality, like, oh my gosh, the people that work for the city of Cedar Rapids have got to be exhausted. So I couldn't go onto camp, or I couldn't go into the building with Max, so I sat in the parking lot. All you hear, I mean, it's not like a cute little bumblebee buzz. All you hear around town is chainsaws, literally every direction. And I was trying to think, as a community, what could we do? And so I came home and I sent Aaron and one of our county supervisors a message. And I said, community to community, could we give one day of our people and our equipment to the city of Cedar Rapids? And I'm not joking, we might in one day with 6 to 8 dump trucks clear 1 or 2 blocks. It is that massive of an undertaking. But at the end of all of this, that's one day that the city crews in Cedar Rapids wouldn't have to be out in 90-degree heat clearing timber and debris and wood. And it's one day that their dump trucks aren't running to the dump and their front end loaders aren't loading out. And I understand there's a cost to it. It's a day of work that's not happening in our community. But I would really implore the Iowa Nice, how would we feel if this was us? And would we appreciate the offer for another community to come in? And I'd really like for us to set the example for other communities. So if they see little community of 10,000 Fairfield gave their people for a day and their chainsaws and their dump trucks and their front end loaders, surely we can do the same. So I can't speak on behalf of the county. I did make the request to both Aaron and a supervisor, but Aaron and Daryl and I spoke earlier, and there's a pressing project that needs to be done. It's an alley over off of Burlington, yeah. But neither one of them have opposition to the idea, and I wondered if the city council would approve Aaron contacting the city to see if this would be something they'd be interested in.
Not to be the nerd again,
Be the nerd.
but we can't vote on something that wasn't on our agenda.
No, I'm just asking for him to be able to contact anyone and see if they're interested. I'm not obligating our people yet.
Yeah, but we can't actually vote on it. It wasn't published. So it'd have to be Aaron's call as an administrator. No
I-
pressure.
Yeah, really?
Okay.
As an administrator, you can make a call.
Well,
He administrates
He
the
can-
employees.
he can make the call and he can talk to his department heads and make a proposition to the city that we can approve or not approve at the next meeting.
I think no matter what is done, everyone would appreciate it, because tonight, as I was watching the news and walking out and seeing the number of people that still have no power, as I said, can you imagine, now, we're sitting here in an air-conditioned meeting room. I mean, they've been living for almost 10 days now with no power. I mean, and now with all this heat that we're having, I just can't think of anything that, I mean, and they've got such a long ways to go. I mean, in terms of getting this, I mean, it's not like saying, oh, we had a windstorm. I mean, it isn't a windstorm.
They had a hurricane.
It is unbelievable. It really is. So I think it's a great idea, Katie, and thanks, Daryn, and everybody, Daryl, for saying yes.
Could you bring a
So-
proposal to us at the next meeting?
Yep, I will put something together. I'll contact their city manager and we'll get to work on it tomorrow.
That's 3 weeks from now.
That's 3
though, by
weeks.
the
We
way.
don't meet till the 14th of September, unfortunately. And I'm not saying they're gonna have the town cleaned up by then, by all means.
Right.
Um,
Well, I'm willing to come in for a special meeting if that's what you needed.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
When you get that
And I-
together, why don't you let us
Yes.
know, and we'll
I think
schedule a
it's great
meeting.
that you could coordinate it there.
I do know a lot of the
Absolutely.
churches are coordinating volunteers that are coming from out of their communities. So, and I know Fairfield people have gone up.
Yeah.
So it's a call to the community, Fairfield community, that if you can go up and take a chainsaw and a truck, please do so. And volunteer your time. They greatly appreciate it. Okay. Administrator and department reports, Aaron?
Project report, if you have any questions about what Melanie has on the project report, feel free to email her. She does have computer access from home, but she is at home with kids. So that's why she's not here tonight to talk about her project report. But if you have any other questions, feel free to shoot her an email. I was at the Board of Supervisors meeting this morning. We are getting close to an agreement on the Crow Creek Bridge and getting that figured out to where we will take over that bridge, but we will get the money that was promised to the county to maintain that bridge along with state funding to do that project. It's in our CIP. We've talked about it to some extent, but it'll be a good thing when it's all said and done, the way we've got it set up, because cities can get better funding through the DOT than what the county does, and that'll make that work out all right. So
Aaron, when's that anticipated to be replaced then, or do we know yet?
we need to get the city proposal in October, and so I think, and I don't remember when those funds then become available, if they become next spring or if it'd be the next fiscal year, or how that, I don't recall that
Okay.
part. I can't answer your question.
Okay,
But the program does say that we would be eligible to 100% of the construction cost for the bridge.
oh, okay,
So the only thing that would have to be covered is engineering, and that money would probably be covered by the funding that was promised to the county.
great, thank
That
you.
should also address the issue of the trail that passes underneath that bridge
Yep.
and gets flooded.
Yeah, that'll all
Fill
get
with mud,
taken,
it'll get cleaned
Yep.
up so that it's not a hazard anymore to residents.
that'll all be part of that design.
Right now, there's really bad erosion going on the south side of that bridge,
Yep.
onto the trail as well.
Okay, great. Anything else?
That's it.
Any other questions? Okay, take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Toohill, second by Ham. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same side. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.